Hey you guys, welcome back. It's Amy Gretchen, and in today's Project Life Process video, I'm going to be working on week 42 from 2017. So again, I feel like a lot of these photos that I'm using for this week are really some everyday shots, which I think I talked a lot about this maybe in the last one, which is my favorite thing, and one of the reasons why I do Project Life is just to capture my family, you know, in and around the house and what's going on. You can also see that there is a photo of orchestra that has an interesting story of itself that I'm going to tell this week. I'm also reaching in and using the Studio Calico's October kit for this week. I really liked the colors a lot and I wanted to use them again. So I pulled out some 4x6 title cards, and now I'm going through the 3x4 cards and just kind of setting aside some that I think I might want to use. Now there's definitely a lot more. I pulled out more than what I could use, but I was just pulling out the things that I, kind of liked the most, that I thought would really work. You can see that I'm just throwing it into the spread and trying to decide, maybe where I might want it to go. Some of those I have an idea of what stories I want to tell, like that weekend card, and some of them I am not sure. They're just colors that I liked and cards that I liked. So another thing that I thought would be fun this week is to actually do some journaling onto my photos. So sometimes I do that right on my computer and print it that way. I've not done that in a long time. But I decided that I wanted a little bit more of the story told with each photo. So I decided to do a little bit of journaling. And if you've been watching my videos for a long time, you'll notice that this is something that I've done quite a bit, is doing just a half circle and adding that half circle right onto a photo and just doing a bit of journaling. You can see that it's not going to provide me a lot of journaling, maybe a sentence or two about the photo, but it's just a little something more so that then I'm able to get some more stories told in those 3x4 pockets. So something else that I typically do is I always think it's fun to maybe stamp something on these cards. I was thinking of actually doing maybe the date, but I thought it would take up too much space. And so I just went ahead and I grabbed over the Allie Edwards Drive stamp set that came with her story stamps. And there was one that said yes, that was pretty bold. And you can see that I just stamped that down. And then there was one that said details. And those are the two stamps that I went ahead and was working with. So you can see that I'm stamping that down first. And one of the things that I did notice as I was working through this is it was actually really helpful to actually get that circle onto the photo before I started writing the journaling, because having to hold that small circle and hold the card and then actually write it without it moving all around actually ended up being I could tell it was not going to work out very well. So that's why I went ahead and adhered it. You can also see that I was kind of moving those half circles around the photo. And one of the reasons why I was doing that is I wanted to get it in a good place for the photo so that it wasn't going over anything specific to the photo, that I didn't want to hide anything. But I also was really looking at where it was sitting on the photo in relation to the other photos on the spread. So I didn't want any of them to be side by side or up and down, like on the same plane. I kind of wanted them askew. So you can see how I tried to make it so they weren't all like on top of each other. And that was my reasoning for that there. So this probably was the longest thing that I did, and it doesn't take too long. It's not that like I was taking a long time writing the journaling, but just all of the steps combined, it definitely added a little bit more to the spread. So that's something to consider. If I were to do this on my computer, I think honestly it would probably take just as long, because I would have to do, get everything in Photoshop, type it all, and then print it all. So I think that they are it would probably be around the same amount of time. So if you like better having something text right on your photo, definitely go ahead and do that. I want to do a little bit more of that. I tend to not always do it because it just does take more time, and sometimes it's just easier to just print right from Lightroom instead of pulling over everything into Photoshop. All right, so now I am working on my title card. You can see that title card has that white strip, so I decided to take the big mega date stamp that also came from Studio Calico and go ahead and stamp that on the bottom. Now, I really love that mega date stamp. It is a little bit challenging. You can kind of see how I was trying to pull up on the rubber to get to the right date, but I don't know, it's totally worth it. I really do love that stamp. So I wanted to add a little something more to those little journaling pieces. And so I decided to grab over these stars that came in Allie Edwards' detail kit. That was one of her story kits. Absolutely loved that one. And I thought that the stars would be a lot of fun because they were a multicolor, but also because the colors just really went with the colors that were already in the spread. So I thought that was really serendipitous. So I thought that I would definitely just go ahead and use that. They had some bigger and smaller ones. Luckily, there was 7 stars left. So I was able to use all of, I guess it's kind of a medium sized star. And I also did try to alternate, not having some of the photos are a little bit more blue. So trying to maybe put like an orange star on that or something like that. So I did kind of try and separate those colors a little bit. So you can see there that I was looking for just a bunch of some of my chipboard embellishments to see if I could find something that went on some of the cards. That one that says love this, that came from Allie Edwards, a Brave kit. Still have some of those left over. Love that I can still be pulling for some of those supplies. So I just went ahead and I'm doing some journaling. This is a paper pad that says, here's the story. I love having a paper pad like that. I am not afraid of repeating cards in multiple weeks. I mean, I wouldn't even be afraid of using that card in every single week. I think that there's something pretty cool about having some repeats as well. So I just went ahead and I used that. Here's the story to tell a story, and then did the stamping afterwards so I wouldn't smear it as I went along. Another journaling that I'm working on, I was thinking of either journaling on this or having this be the filler card. I kind of wish I would have just left it as a filler card. I don't necessarily love how the journaling looks, or maybe if I had typed it, I don't know. Something was throwing me off after I got done with it, but I did decide to leave it. I actually had thought about cutting out the weekend and starting over and just writing the journaling, but I really like the backside. I want to be able to use it for next week, so I decided to keep it. So I just wrote a little bit about the weekend. It was actually a 4-day weekend for us. My kids had Thursday and Friday off, so it was just a little bit about what we were doing. We were doing some painting projects and just kind of hanging out, doing some fall stuff. Now I'm doing one more journaling. Actually, there's 2 more journaling to do. This one's just a little bit smaller. It's just a story about how we're looking for a violin for my daughter. So just a few sentences about that. And I think I do end up, I'm looking for some chipboard to maybe put on there because it's really hard to see, but there is a very light, like geometric pattern on that card, and then underneath is that kind of a white spot there. So I'm looking for something to add, something that may work out, just to add a little bit of interest. I found this, let's see, this one said awesome memories, if I believe. And I think I didn't see where I grabbed it from, but it was either from Allie Edwards or Studio Calico. But I like that it kind of was matching the half circles from everything else in this spread. So I really like that. And of course, awesome memories can really go with anything. And then I just did my last bit of journaling. That journaling was just all about gather. That's the word that's kind of in that label. It came like that. The card came like that. And it was just about how much I love kids gathering at the house. And I love gathering with my friends and family and playing games. And I love gathering at the end of the day with my kids, and, just little things like that, like some bits of journaling there. All right, you guys, so I'm nearing the end of this layout, but you can see that I'm kind of switching things around, and that's because I didn't love how all that journaling from the weekend and then from the half circle journaling was like on top of each other. So I kept trying to mix things around. And I think in the end of the day, I was like, oh, there's really nothing I can do. I'm just going to leave it and not worry about it. But you do see that I moved over the gather, or I'm doing that now, the gather and that other awesome memories card. And then I found this everyday label chipboard that came from Allie Edwards, decided to stick that on as well. Anyway, so I am complete with this spread. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you're able to get some inspiration from this layout. If you like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. I would totally appreciate that. And you guys, we will catch you next week. Bye.